and welcome to Buzz TV. I'm Donica Hudson here with On a Mission to Rededicate America to God. We have a wonderful guest this morning. His name is Zoe Warren. Zoe is the video producer at the New American Magazine, and he was a former candidate for lieutenant governor in South Carolina and is currently running for the chairman of the South Carolina GOP. He will be with us at our First Landing 1607 event called the Declaration of Covenant. Welcome to the show, Zoe.
Hey, thank you, Donica. Thank you.
And I am so grateful to you. You are not only going to be speaking at our event in Virginia Beach about First Landing, where the founders of our country actually covenanted with God, but you're also going to be helping us, those of us who are doing both. We're speaking and then we're also running around and getting things done, and you're using your skill set that you have from the New American Magazine to help us. And we are so grateful. Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. You learn that when you're in ministry.
Isn't that the truth? You know, it's so good to have a man of faith in politics, and I'm so grateful for that. Tell us a little bit about why you have run for office in the past and why you're running currently for the GOP chair.
Well, first of all, thank you, Donica, for allowing me to be on the program and to share with your sphere of influence what it is that I do in South Carolina and who I am. But politics is not my bag. I'm a mechanic of government, which includes policy making, but more so helping to find out where there are breaches in the system, like where boundaries have been trespassed or they're broken, damaged, or even removed. It causes the separation of powers to bleed into one another. I think our founders created a system that was supposed to be an impediment to despotism, like really slow government on purpose. Because the faster your government can move, the faster oppression can move. And so if you can find out where there are breaches in the system of the powers, then generally you can slow down or stop oppression. And so I'm more of a mechanic of government, and that includes some policy making, but it's only one aspect of what I do. And so I got involved and ran for office because I was doing that, mechanicking government. And I had a friend up in Greenville named Harrison Musselwhite. He was the legislative chair for the GOP there in Greenville County. And he and I would have conversations about resolutions that we wanted to get passed and strategies. And he really had, a real good relationship with legislators in the legislature here. And so as I'm giving him this counsel, he and I are having amazing times in God. By the end of our conversations, we're just worshiping God together, going up. And he is looking for somebody to run against Governor Henry McMaster, who's essentially a globalist. I mean, he's tied to the WEF through the NGA, and he's the co-chair of an arm of the NGA. And so he's doing the bidding of the globalist overlords of America who want to, take our planet, our power. So anyway, I ran for office because in the midst of that,
find the NGA for folks. Folks might not know what the NGA is.
Sure. Okay. The National Governors Association is the NGA. All of our governors are automatically put into the NGA, but not all of our governors have a specific task that they co-chair for the NGA that essentially acts as their application of their concepts, their policy, their ideas. And so what they're doing, they have a federal approach and a global approach. Of the WEF, who's the World Economic Forum, the NGA partnered with them to institute the Fourth Industrial Revolution back in 2018. And that's kind of driving the policy that you see, like the diversity, equity, inclusion, CRT, ESG, all that stuff that's mandated stuff by the WEF. In order to participate, you have to have corporate governance. You have to have these policies in place. Otherwise, you can't participate, and so there's no money for you. And so you find even Republicans adopting some of these policies. So long story short, as we're approaching all of this work, to stop globalism, to stop the advancement of our opponents against the American form of republic, calling us racist, I'm a white supremacist, Christo-fascist, whatever they want to call me, to label me so that the FBI can interdict me or whatever. As we're working on policies to try to fix that, Harrison's like, I have to run for governor because nobody else will run. Would you run for me as lieutenant governor? I said, sure, absolutely. And so in this process, it's been, for me, as a mechanic of government, to enter in, try to figure out what the breach is, And then as I've done that, people have asked me to do things. Like I ended up being the third vice chair of the Lexington County Republican Party in 2021, the first vice chair in 2022. I'm still the first vice chair now. The chairman of the new member orientation committee, and I've run for lieutenant governor. And now they've asked me to run for the chair of the SCGOP because the message is more important than the messenger. You know, if you
Yes.
have a message and a vision,
Mhm.
then it doesn't even matter
Mhm.
what coat, what skin it's in. What matters is
Right.
that the message and the vision gets to the people, because then they won't lack restraint. They won't be destroyed.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
our people perish for lack of knowledge. That means they die away. You know,
Yes.
our vision. Excuse me. Without a vision, the people perish. So they start
Mhm.
to fall apart, and that's what's happening to our country. We're perishing, right? But
Mhm.
you are destroyed if you get that vision, you get that knowledge, and you reject it, and you go do whatever you want anyway. So what our job is to make sure the message gets to our people in the precinct so they can take back their power, so they can learn who their identity is, and they can stop just being the brick carriers for an aristocratic, top-down, tyrannical kind of even GOP apparatus that has been built over time.
You know, I am so thankful for men like you and women like you of faith who see the big picture. Most people don't understand. And in my opinion, our biggest threat is globalism, because America is the last nation standing in the way of a one world government. And you and I know the Bible has predicted all of this, going down to the very fact that we've got a Bill Gates patent of 666 to buy and sell with. You know, I've got this documented fully in my book. This is not, you know, some sci-fi movie and conspiracy that Zoe and I are talking about. If you're watching here, this is fully documented in my book, Pray America Great. You can get it at my website, donicahudson.com, where I took a year, Zoe, and researched and footnoted everything that you just mentioned from the World Economic Forum, everything that's going on. And the strategy of the globalist with a one world government is the Antichrist spirit, which is anti-God, anti-human, and anti-holiness. That anti-human part is where that fourth industrial revolution that Zoe just referenced comes in, where it's the mergence of man and machine. And so when I wrote the Declaration of Covenant at the event that you're going to be helping us with, I did reference this, Zoe, as what I believe is to be the biggest threat to our republic. And, you know, this Declaration of Covenant allows us to come in and join with the founders who came to First Landing in 1607, erected a cross, took communion, and pledged and dedicated themselves and this land to God, and that we would be evangelists to the world for generations to come. So if you and I are going to save our posterity, if we're going to join the colonists, they prayed that we would join them in this covenant. That's why you and I are going there. We're going to join them in this covenant. We're going to recovenant. And the fourth whereas in the Declaration of Covenant that I wrote, Zoe, says today, it says, whereas these God-given rights of self-government and religious liberty are under siege as forces of evil seek to destroy our U.S. Constitution and to plunge America into a one-world government. And that is exactly what you have pinpointed.
You know, it's funny. Like the French revolutionaries were able to get rid of the king whose ability to govern was given by God, so the divine right of king. So they got rid of the king. And the next thing they did was they tried to get rid of all of the divine people, the church. They built centers of reason. I mean, all that's in antiquity in the French Revolution, right? But today, the French revolutionaries continue because they want to get rid of God and God's people. They didn't just want to get rid of the King of England. They wanted to get rid of the folks who stand in the way of them fully venting their lusts, even on our children, on our animals, on, you know, random objects, whatever they want to do. They feel like if they want to, you know, have mastectomies on little girls because the little girl thinks they're whatever, or chop off the genitalia of little boys, that all that stuff is okay. It's not immoral to them. And so the French revolutionaries continue today.
Yes. And you know, that plays right in to people don't understand. That is actually a spiritual problem. And this self-mutilation that the Antichrist spirit is pushing is because they believe in some higher form of transcendence where they're taking us as humanity from being made in the image of God and letting or encouraging us to mutilate our children and ourselves to be in the image of Baphomet and other satanic gods that have both organs. So we have about 1 minute left. Zoe, tell us before we close, how do we save our American form of republic?
We are under covenant. Period. Okay. And so what happens is if you violate a covenant, covenant breakers destroy the foundations. If the foundations be moved, what will the righteous do? And that question has an answer. The righteous will restore the covenant. They will be repairers of the breach. They find out where the breach is and they fix that. They give prophets go out and talk about what the breach is and how the people can begin to do what they're supposed to do again. The reality is that our government, limited government, was founded on top of self-government. And the church was the leading proponent of that system. There is no liberty apart from God. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. The entire creation is yearning in eager expectation for the sons of God to be manifested so that they can be delivered from corruption and enter into the glorious liberty of the children of God. So liberty is a big deal to God. And that covenant that we made required us to have connected control to our electeds. We were caucusing together, taking care of our widows and our orphans in our 100-house area. There was a church in the center of it. We were focused on our mission, and that mission was self-government. And our entire system of government, this dual federal republic we have, republic has dual federalism. It's federal at the state level, federal at the national level. That system was built on top of self-governing people. If we don't self-govern, we cannot have limited government. If we don't start taking our duty, our responsibility, living out our identity in our caucuses, in our neighborhoods, doing the things we're supposed to be doing, we will not save America. But if we do, the Lord says that it only takes you doing what you were last commanded for you to be blessed. Most people realize Cain got cursed, but they don't realize he got blessed. He got the mark put on his forehead because he agreed with God that his works were evil and he deserved to die. Instead, God said, "Hey, I'm going to give you grace. Okay, if anybody finds you and they kill you, they'll get 7 times worse. That will be a preventative thing, so they won't kill you." This guy went out, built a city, had kids. His kids took care of cattle, made instruments, you name it. If it was like, the Copelands or some faith ministry, they would say he was living the blessed life, glory to God, because he just did the last thing his father was commanded. What's the last thing Jesus commanded us? Go love your neighbor as yourself. That fulfills the law and the prophets, guys. That's what that self-governing system is. It truly isn't just, what would Jesus do at the grocery store? It's how does a community that is founded in God govern as a community founded in God? And that will be loving your neighbor as yourself, taking care of your community. So anyway, doing to others what you'd want done to you is the basis of it,
brother.
but we need that in government. So God bless you guys.
Thank you so much. Zoe Warren, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for being with us at the First Landing event in later April this year. And I really hope that you do well and that you win a South Carolina GOP chair. Thanks so much, Zoe Warren. Can't think of a better man for the job. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. This has been Donica Hudson on Buzz TV for On a Mission to Rededicate America to God. Goodbye.